100 pages of newly released State Department documents show how last spring, Trump personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani delivered his message and his own unproven Ukraine files to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Giuliani went through the president's then personal assistant to reach Pompeo after Giuliani's aide noted, "I've been trying and getting nowhere through regular channels." On March 29th, Pompeo, known as S for Secretary, and Giuliani spoke for 4 minutes. The weekend document dump refers to Joe Biden and son Hunter more than 80 times and undercuts then Ukraine Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch, who testified that she felt threatened.
What I do wonder is why it was necessary to smear my reputation.
But the release also includes letters to Pompeo from Democrats and diplomats defending Yovanovitch against a smear campaign. Indicted Giuliani associate Lev Parnas, in a separate development, is prepared to tell Congress the top House Intelligence Committee Republican Devin Nunes met with a former Ukrainian prosecutor about the Bidens in 2018. Nunes denies that, and so does Giuliani.
Poor Lev, I don't know what he's doing to himself. I think once again that's going to be shown to be provably untrue.
And the once close friendship between Joe Biden and Lindsey Graham is on the rocks after Graham announced the Senate Judiciary Committee will examine Biden's ties to Ukraine.
There's been nothing to investigate about Biden or his son. And Lindsey is about to go down in a way that I think he's going to regret his whole life.
Kelly, just how serious is this Graham plan to investigate the Bidens? What comes next?
Well, he has already asked the State Department to provide Obama-era documents that would link Joe Biden as vice president to any Ukrainian officials. And tonight, Rudy Giuliani is offering his help to Graham with a new letter, putting Giuliani in the middle of it all just again.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.